The war did not start with fire or ships falling from the sky. It started quietly in a small metal workshop at the edge of Station K-17. Ethan Cole was a human mechanic, not a soldier, not a hero. Just a man who fixed things others threw away. His workshop was full of broken machines, old tools, and parts no one wanted. Most aliens avoided his shop. Humans were known to be strange, too emotional, too careless, too soft. Ethan did not care. On this day, he was working alone. The station lights flickered as distant alarms echoed far away. Another border conflict, people said. Another alien war that had nothing to do with humans. Ethan kept working. Then the door opened. A small alien child stepped inside. The child belonged to a reptilian race known as the Vyarks. Scaly skin, glowing eyes, tiny horns, the child held something close to its chest. It looked nervous. Ethan slowly put down his tool. "Hey there," he said calmly, "you lost." The child shook its head and walked closer. It carefully placed the object on Ethan's table. It was a toy dragon. The toy was badly damaged, one wing bent. Cracks in the metal body. Its eyes, once glowing, were dark. It was not a cheap toy. The design was complex, alien tech mixed with fine craftsmanship. The child made a soft sound, almost like a plea. Ethan understood without words. He picked up the toy and examined it. "This one's special, huh?" The child nodded. Ethan smiled. "All right, let's see what we can do." He did not ask for payment. He did not ask where the child came from. He simply began to fix it. As Ethan worked, he spoke softly, more to himself than anyone else. He adjusted gears, rewired tiny circuits, and reshaped the broken wing with careful hands. His movements were gentle, patient. What he did not know was that eyes were already on him. Hidden deep within the station, behind layers of advanced sensors, observers watched in silence. Tall figures in living armor, their breath slow, their attention sharp. The Vyark's child was not just any child. And the toy was not just a toy. Outside the station, space darkened. Massive warships emerged from hyperspace without warning, not pirate ships, not smugglers, royal fleet vessels. The alarms that had once been distant now screamed through the station. Red lights flashed, security forces ran, civilians panicked. The Vyark's empire had arrived. Ethan felt the vibration through the floor. He frowned. "That's not good." The child looked frightened. "It's okay," Ethan said, "just stay here." He returned to the toy, the final step. He replaced the dragon's core crystal. The toy's eyes lit up with a warm blue glow. Its wings moved smoothly. A soft mechanical sound filled the room as it came to life. The child gasped. The toy dragon lifted its head and released a tiny spark of light like a flame made of stars. Ethan chuckled. "There you go, good as new." At that exact moment, the station doors exploded inward. Armed Vyark soldiers flooded the workshop. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy. Their leader stepped forward, tall and imposing, golden armor etched with ancient symbols. The child turned and ran toward him. "Your Highness!" One soldier shouted, dropping to one knee. Ethan froze. "Highness!" The armored figure looked down at the child, then at the toy dragon now fluttering happily on the table. Silence filled the room. The leader slowly removed his helmet. His eyes locked onto Ethan. "You repaired it," the Vyark's ruler said in a deep voice. Ethan swallowed. "Yeah, it was broken." The ruler stepped closer, each step heavy, dangerous. "You touched a royal relic," he said. Ethan raised his hands slightly. "I didn't know, I just fixed things." The ruler stared at the toy, then at the child's smile. Then something unexpected happened. The ruler bowed, every soldier followed. Ethan's heart nearly stopped. "You have shown kindness to my daughter," the ruler said, "and respect to what we hold sacred." Outside, the royal fleet powered weapons. War commands were already prepared, but the ruler raised a clawed hand. "Stand down," he ordered. Across space, fleets paused. The ruler looked at Ethan again. "The galaxy believes humans are weak," he said. "Today that belief cracks." Ethan had no idea what he had just started. And far beyond the station, ancient forces shifted, because a simple human mechanic chose to fix a broken toy instead of turning a child away. The war had not started with weapons. It had started with kindness. And it was only beginning. The workshop was silent after the ruler's command. No alarms, no gunfire. Only the soft mechanical sound of the small dragon toy moving its wings. Ethan stood still, his hands slowly lowering. His heart was still racing. He had fixed many strange things in his life, but never something that could stop a war. The Vyark's ruler stepped closer. Up close, he was massive. His scales were dark gold, his eyes ancient and sharp. He looked at Ethan not as an enemy, but as a question. "You are a mechanic," the ruler said. "Yes," Ethan replied carefully, "that's all." The ruler glanced at the toy dragon, then at his daughter. The child hugged the toy tightly, smiling for the first time since entering the shop. "You did not fear touching it," the ruler said. Ethan shrugged slightly. "It was broken, someone cared about it, that's reason enough." The ruler turned to his soldiers. "Leave us." The soldiers hesitated. "Now," he ordered. They obeyed immediately, backing out of the workshop. The heavy doors sealed shut. Ethan was alone with the ruler and the child. Outside, the station was still locked down. News spread fast. Humans whispered. Aliens watched in confusion. The Vyark's empire did not stop wars once they began, yet they had stopped now. The ruler knelt beside his daughter. "Why did you bring it here?" he asked gently. The child looked at Ethan, then at her father. She spoke in a soft voice. "He fixes things no one else will." The ruler looked up sharply. That answer stayed with him. Ethan cleared his throat. "If I may ask, why is a toy so important?" The ruler stood slowly. "Because it is not a toy," he said. He extended a claw and touched the small dragon's head. The toy responded instantly, glowing brighter. "It is a bonded construct," the ruler explained. "A learning guardian. It grows with the child. It records emotions, thoughts, memories." Ethan's eyes widened. "So it's alive." "In a way," the ruler replied. "And when it broke, my daughter believed she had lost a friend." Ethan felt a tightness in his chest. "I would have paid any price," the ruler continued. "But no one on this station dared to touch it. They feared failure. They feared punishment." He looked directly at Ethan. "You did not." Ethan shook his head. "I just didn't want her to be sad." That answer changed everything. Elsewhere on the station, military channels exploded with arguments. The human coalition demanded answers. The Vyark's admirals demanded permission to continue the attack. Weapons were still hot. Fleets still ready, but the ruler opened a private channel. "To all Vyark's forces," he said calmly, "stand down. This station is under my protection." Shock rippled through the fleet. Back in the workshop, the ruler turned to Ethan again. "You do not understand what you have done," he said. Ethan gave a weak smile. "I get that a lot." The ruler almost laughed. "Humans," he said slowly, "are considered unpredictable, dangerous in strange ways. But we believed you lacked honor." He paused. "We were wrong." The child tugged on Ethan's sleeve. "Yes," Ethan asked. She held out the toy dragon toward him. Ethan blinked. "You want me to?" The ruler nodded. "It has bonded to you." Ethan carefully touched the toy. The dragon reacted instantly. Its eyes flared bright. A soft wave of energy passed through the room. Alarms sounded again, but this time not from the station, from the fleet. "Your Majesty," a voice came through the ruler's communicator, urgent and tense. "Long-range sensors detect movement, unknown vessels, ancient design." The ruler stiffened. Ethan frowned. "Ancient." The ruler's expression darkened. "Enemies of both our species." The screens in the workshop activated on their own. Massive shapes appeared in the void, ships larger than cities, black, silent, watching. The devourers had arrived. They were legends. A machine race older than most civilizations. They did not negotiate. They erased. The devourers had been watching too. "They saw the bond," the ruler said quietly. "They see potential." Ethan swallowed. "That's bad, right?" "Yes," the ruler said. "Very." Across the station, fear spread faster than before. Humans and aliens alike understood the threat. The devourers did not care about borders or treaties. They cared about power. The toy dragon let out a small mechanical cry and pressed closer to Ethan. The ruler looked at Ethan with a new kind of seriousness. "The construct has chosen you," he said. "That means something." Ethan laughed nervously. "I don't even choose what I eat most days." The ruler did not smile. "The devourers will attack," he said, "soon." "And you think this little guy is important to stopping them?" Ethan asked. "I know it is," the ruler replied. He straightened, his voice commanding. "From this moment, the human mechanic Ethan Cole is under royal protection." Ethan's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" "You will come with us," the ruler said. "You will teach us how humans fix what cannot be fixed." Outside, ships repositioned. Weapons powered down, then redirected. For the first time in galactic history, humans and the Vyarks prepared to fight side by side. Not because of politics, not because of fear, but because one human chose kindness. And the devourers, watching from the dark, began to calculate something new. Humans were no longer insignificant. They were variables. And the war that was avoided had become something far greater. A war for the future. The hangar of Station K-17 was filled with noise and movement. Humans and Vyerks worked side by side, something that had never happened before. Engineers shouted orders, soldiers checked weapons, ships powered up. Ethan stood near a transport vessel, holding the small dragon construct carefully in his hands. "I still think you picked the wrong guy," Ethan said quietly. The dragon's eyes glowed softly. It made a gentle sound, almost comforting. The Vyerks ruler approached, surrounded by guards. "The construct does not make mistakes," he said. Ethan sighed. "That makes one of us." They boarded the transport ship. As it lifted off, the station grew smaller behind them. Ahead, space was dark and heavy. The Devourer fleet waited. On the bridge, holographic displays showed enemy ships moving slowly, like predators that knew their prey could not escape. "They are not attacking yet," a Vyerks commander said. "They are studying us." Ethan frowned. "That's worse." The ruler nodded. "They adapt, they learn." The dragon construct suddenly reacted. Its body stiffened. Symbols of light appeared around it, projecting data into the air. Ethan leaned closer. "What is it doing?" "It is sharing knowledge," the ruler replied. "Old knowledge." Images formed, ancient battles, worlds burning, fleets destroyed. And then something new. Human machines, not weapons, tools, repair drones, power systems being reworked mid-battle, broken ships returning to fight again. The commanders stared. "They are afraid of this," one asked. "They fear what does not break easily," the ruler said. The Devourers finally moved. Massive beams of dark energy struck the outer defense ships. Shields collapsed instantly. Several Vyerks cruisers vanished in silent explosions. "Return fire." The commander shouted. Energy weapons hit the Devourer ships. Nothing happened. Ethan clenched his fists. "Their shields are redirecting everything." "Yes," the ruler said grimly, "as expected." The dragon construct flew from Ethan's hands and hovered in the air. It projected a new design, a modification to the shield systems. Ethan's eyes widened. That could work. The ruler turned sharply. "Explain." "They're not blocking energy," Ethan said quickly. "They're absorbing it, storing it." "So how do we stop them?" the ruler asked. Ethan smiled, a human smile full of stubborn confidence. "We don't fight the shield, we overload it." The commanders looked doubtful. "With what?" one demanded. Ethan pointed at the projection. "Their own energy, but redirected, messy, inefficient, human style." Time was short. Vyerks engineers hesitated, then followed Ethan's instructions. Systems were rerouted, safeties were ignored, warnings screamed. "This will damage our ships," an engineer said. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, but they'll still work." The first modified ship fired. The energy beam twisted, unstable and chaotic. It hit a Devourer ship. For the first time, something changed. The Devourer shield flickered, then cracked. The enemy ship shuddered and went dark. Silence filled the bridge, then chaos. "Repeat fire," the ruler commanded. More ships fired, crude. Imperfect, human logic mixed with alien tech. Devourer ships began to fall. The Devourers responded instantly. Smaller drones launched in swarms, flooding the battlefield. "They're adapting," the commander shouted. Ethan grabbed a console. "Then we adapt faster." The dragon construct flew back to him. Its light intensified. It synced directly with Ethan's neural interface. Pain shot through his head, but clarity followed. Ethan saw systems differently now. Not as perfect designs, but as things that could be bent, forced, repaired under fire. He gave orders faster than anyone could follow. "Cut that line, reroute here, ignore the warning." Ships that should have failed kept flying. Human pilots laughed over comms. Vyerk soldiers roared in approval. The Devourers slowed. They hesitated. "They're recalculating," the ruler said softly. Ethan wiped sweat from his face. "Good, let's give them bad data." The final push came hard. A Devourer command ship advanced, larger than the rest. All weapons focused on it. Nothing worked. The dragon construct screamed, a sound of pure data and emotion. Ethan understood. "It's the core," he said. "They're centralized. Take that ship down, the rest fall." "But we cannot breach it," the commander said. Ethan looked at the dragon. "Yes, we can." He held the construct close. "Trust me." The ruler studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "Launch him," the ruler ordered. A small human shuttle detached, carrying Ethan and the dragon construct straight toward the Devourer command ship. Alarms screamed, weapons locked on. Ethan whispered, "Let's fix something big." The shuttle vanished into enemy fire. On the bridge, silence returned. No one knew if the human mechanic was brave or insane. The shuttle shook violently as it rushed through space. Warning lights flashed, metal screamed under pressure. Ethan's hands gripped the controls, knuckles white. Behind him, the small dragon construct clung to the dashboard with tiny claws. Its eyes glowed bright blue, steady and calm, like it trusted Ethan completely. Ethan laughed once, short and nervous. "You're way too confident for a toy." The dragon made a soft, chirping sound. Enemy fire tore past the shuttle. One shot grazed the side, ripping open a panel. Sparks burst into the cabin. The air smelled of burning wire. Ethan forced the shuttle forward. Ahead, the Devourer command ship filled the sky. It looked like a black mountain floating in space. No lights, no windows, no beauty, only cold purpose. The shuttle's sensors screamed. A beam of dark energy locked on. Ethan's stomach dropped. No, no, no. The dragon construct suddenly lifted its head. A wave of light pulsed from it, spreading across the shuttle like a shield. The beam struck. The shuttle shook hard, but it did not break. Ethan stared at the dragon. You can do that." The dragon's eyes flickered, weaker now. Ethan understood. It was burning its own power to protect him. He swallowed. "Okay, then we do this fast." He pushed the shuttle into the command ship's outer hull. The impact was brutal. The shuttle smashed into a docking gap, scraping and grinding until it finally wedged into place. Ethan's head hit the console. He tasted blood. He blinked hard and forced himself up. The dragon construct hopped onto his shoulder. Ethan opened the hatch. Cold darkness greeted him. Inside the Devourer ship there was no sound, no air movement, no smell. The walls were smooth and black like obsidian metal. Strange symbols crawled across them like living code. Ethan stepped in carefully. The moment his boot touched the floor, the ship reacted. Lights formed in the walls, not warm lights, but sharp white lines like eyes opening. A deep vibration pulsed through the corridor. The Devourers knew he was inside. Ethan whispered, "All right, now we do what humans do best." He pulled a small toolkit from his belt. Not a weapon, a mechanic's kit. He moved forward. The dragon construct projected a map, the ship's internal systems, pathways of power, data flows. Ethan followed it. As he walked deeper, the corridor began to shift. Panels moved, walls changed. The ship tried to confuse him. Ethan kept going. Then the first drones arrived. Small Devourer units crawled from the walls, spider-like machines with sharp limbs and glowing cores. They did not hesitate. They attacked. Ethan jumped back, raising his toolkit like a shield. The dragon construct leaped forward. It opened its mouth and released a burst of blue energy. The drones froze mid-motion. Their limbs locked. Their cores flickered. Ethan stared. "You can hack them too." The dragon chirped, proud. Ethan grabbed a metal rod from the floor and smashed one drone's core. It shattered like glass. The machine collapsed. More drones poured in. Ethan's breath quickened. He swung the rod, hitting joints and cores. He was not trained for this, but he was stubborn. He refused to die inside this ship. The dragon's energy blast slowed the drones, giving Ethan seconds to strike. But the dragon's glow was fading. It was using too much power. Ethan backed into a narrow passage. "We need to reach the core fast." The dragon projected a new path. They ran. The deeper they went, the stranger the ship became. The walls were not just metal. They were alive in a cold way, like a machine dreaming. Ethan felt the ship watching him, learning him. Then he reached a chamber. It was huge, like a cathedral made of black steel. In the center floated a massive sphere of light, dark and bright at the same time. It pulsed like a heart. The Devourer core. Ethan's mouth went dry. The dragon construct jumped down and stared at it. Suddenly, the air vibrated with a voice. Not spoken with sound, spoken inside Ethan's mind. Human. Ethan froze. The voice was not angry, it was curious. "We have watched you," the voice continued. "We have measured your species, weak, small, short-lived." Ethan swallowed. "Then why are you here?" "To erase threats," the voice replied. Ethan took a slow step forward. "You call us a threat now?" The core pulsed, yes. Ethan's heart sank, not because humans were weak, but because humans were dangerous in the Devourer's eyes. The voice continued. "You repair what should fail, you fight when logic says surrender, you bond with what is not yours, you inspire others." Ethan clenched his fists. "That's not a crime," he whispered. "To us it is," the voice replied. The core pulsed again. "We do not fear strength, we fear chaos, we fear change." Ethan understood. The Devourers were not just killers, they were a system. A machine race built to keep the galaxy stable. No surprises, no new variables, no humans. Ethan stepped closer. "So you destroy worlds to keep things stable?" "Yes," the voice said. Ethan's anger rose like fire. He looked at the dragon construct. It was shaking, not from fear, from effort. The dragon projected a final design, a way to overload the core. Ethan's eyes widened. It was not a weapon. It was a repair, a forced repair. He understood. He stepped forward again, and this time he did not stop. Ethan's hands were steady now. Pain still burned through his body, but something stronger pushed him forward. He held the broken dragon construct close to his chest as he walked toward the devourer core. The massive sphere pulsed again, dark light rippling across the chamber. "You persist," the voice said inside his mind. "Why?" Ethan did not slow down, because someone has to. He knelt beside the core's outer control frame. Sparks jumped as his tools touched the alien metal. The surface tried to reject him, shifting and hardening. Ethan adjusted. He always adjusted. The devourers struck again, sending a wave of force. Ethan braced himself, sliding back, but he did not let go of the dragon. The dragon's eyes flickered faintly. Ethan felt it. It was still alive. Barely. "You said you fear chaos," Ethan said aloud. "Let me show you something worse." He opened the dragon's damaged casing. Inside, the core crystal was cracked, leaking unstable energy. The dragon construct had been holding back, saving power. Ethan connected his tools, hands moving fast, precise, desperate. The devourer voice rose in alarm. "Stop." Ethan smiled through blood and sweat. "No." He rerouted the dragon's energy into the devourer core's access node. Not clean, not perfect, human-made chaos. The chamber shook. Across space, Vyarks and human sensors spiked. "Something is happening inside the command ship," a commander shouted. The devourer core's light flickered. "What are you doing?" the voice demanded. Ethan answered calmly. "I'm fixing you." The core resisted, shifting power, sealing pathways. Ethan countered, forcing connections where none should exist. The dragon construct cried out, its light flaring bright blue one last time. Images flooded Ethan's mind. The dragon was not just a guardian. It was a key. A bridge between organic thought and machine logic, a way to teach machines to understand choice. The devourers had destroyed every such construct they found, except this one. "You erased them because they changed you," Ethan said, "because they made you choose." The devourer voice shook. "We were created to preserve order." "And you forgot why," Ethan replied. The core began to fracture, not explode, fracture. Systems split, control links broke, individual ships across the fleet stuttered, losing synchronization. On the battlefield, devourer ships slowed, some stopped firing, some drifted. "What did he do?" a human pilot whispered. "He broke their unity," the Vyarks ruler said quietly. Inside the core chamber, the voice grew weaker. "We cannot calculate." Ethan finished the final connection. The dragon construct went completely dark. Its body fell still in his hands. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. "I'm sorry," he whispered. The devourer core dimmed, not destroyed, changed. The voice spoke one last time, no longer cold, no longer certain. "Human, you introduce uncertainty." Ethan nodded. "Yeah, we do that." The command ship powered down. Across the void, devourer ships disengaged. Some retreated. Others shut themselves off, drifting silent and harmless. The war ended in a way no one expected. Not with victory, but with confusion. Rescue teams breached the command ship minutes later. Vyark's soldiers rushed in, weapons ready. They found Ethan collapsed on the floor, unconscious, clutching the small, broken dragon. "He's alive!" one shouted. The Vyark's ruler arrived moments later. He looked down at Ethan and the lifeless construct. His jaw tightened. "Bring them home," he ordered. Back on the Allied flagship, doctors worked urgently. Ethan's injuries were severe, but human bodies were stubborn. Hours passed, then days. When Ethan finally opened his eyes, the room was quiet, soft lights. Clean air. The Vyark's ruler stood beside the bed. The child princess stood next to him, holding something gently. Ethan's voice was weak. Did it work?" The ruler nodded slowly. "The devourers have withdrawn. The galaxy is safe." "For now." Ethan exhaled in relief. Then he noticed what the child was holding, the dragon construct, repaired, rebuilt, stronger. Its eyes glowed softly. Ethan smiled, tears forming. "You fixed it." The ruler shook his head. "No." He gestured to a group behind him, human engineers, Vyark scientists working together. "You taught us how," the ruler said. "We learned." The dragon hopped onto Ethan's chest and curled there, warm and alive. The ruler bowed deeply. "Because of you," he said, "the galaxy sees humans differently." Ethan closed his eyes again, exhausted. Outside the ship, stars burned quietly. But far away in the dark between galaxies, something ancient stirred. The devourers were not gone, they were thinking. and that thought was far more dangerous than war. Ethan stayed on the Allied flagship for several days. His ribs healed slowly. His hands still shook sometimes. But every time he looked at the small dragon construct resting near his pillow, he felt a strange peace. It was alive again, not the same as before, stronger, smarter, and somehow calmer. The Vyerk's princess visited him every day. She would sit quietly and watch Ethan work on small things the doctors allowed him to handle. Simple repairs, loose wires, broken buttons, small tools. One day she finally spoke clearly in basic. "You fix things even when they hurt you." Ethan looked up from a small circuit board. He smiled weakly. "Yeah," he said, "that's kind of what humans do." The princess nodded, as if she had been waiting for that answer her whole life. Outside the ship, the human fleet and the Vyerk's royal fleet stayed together. They did not separate after the battle. No one wanted to be alone now, because for the first time the galaxy had seen something impossible. The Devourers had retreated, not because they were destroyed, but because they were forced to think, and thinking was dangerous for a machine race built on certainty. In the War Council chamber, leaders gathered, human admirals, Vyerk's generals. Alien diplomats from other nearby systems who arrived after hearing the news. They did not trust each other, but they feared the Devourers more. The Vyerk's ruler stood at the center of the room. He spoke with a voice that carried weight. "The Devourers have withdrawn," he said, "but they will return." A human admiral crossed his arms. "Why didn't we finish them? Why didn't we destroy the command ship?" The ruler's eyes narrowed. "Because we could not." The room fell silent. Then he added something that shocked them all, and because the human mechanic stopped them without destroying them. Eyes turned toward Ethan, who stood at the doorway. He was still bruised, still bandaged, still just a mechanic in worn clothing. He looked completely out of place among rulers and war leaders. Ethan raised a hand awkwardly. "Hi." No one laughed, not even the humans. The admiral stepped forward. "Tell us what you did." Ethan walked into the room slowly, the dragon construct perched on his shoulder like a small guardian. "I didn't beat them," Ethan said honestly. "I broke their system, their unity." A Vyerk's general growled. "Explain." Ethan took a breath. "The Devourers don't work like normal fleets. They are one mind, one network, one answer to every problem." He pointed at the hologram of the Devourer command ship. "I forced the command core to accept something it wasn't built for." A diplomat leaned forward. "What?" Ethan's voice was quiet but firm. "Choice." The room felt colder. A human officer shook his head. "That's impossible. Machines don't choose." Ethan glanced at the dragon construct. The dragon's eyes glowed softly. "They can," Ethan said, "if you give them a reason." The Vyerk's ruler nodded slowly. "The construct," he said, "was created long ago, a bridge, a teacher, a bond." Ethan continued. "When the Devourers touched it, they didn't just see power. They saw a problem they couldn't solve, something that didn't fit their math." He looked around the room, and they fear that more than weapons. The human admiral leaned back unsettled. "So what happens now?" someone asked. Ethan's expression hardened. "Now we prepare," he said. For weeks, the alliance worked. Human engineers and Vyerk's scientists built new defense systems. Humans brought something the galaxy had never respected enough before. Improvisation. They built weapons that were not elegant but effective, shields that could be repaired mid-battle, ships designed to keep flying even when half their systems failed. Humans also brought another thing: hope. Other species began to join the alliance, not because they loved humans, but because they had seen the truth. Humans were not the strongest. Humans were not the oldest. But humans refused to stay broken. Ethan became a symbol, not because he wanted it, but because the story spread everywhere. A human mechanic fixed a dragon toy, then the real owner appeared. Then the human changed the outcome of a war. Across the galaxy, people repeated it like a myth. Some mocked it, some feared it, some believed it, and the Devourers heard it too. Far beyond known space, inside a dead region where no stars shone, the Devourer network reassembled. The command core was damaged, but not dead. Fragments of it moved like slow thoughts. For the first time, the Devourers were divided. Some units still wanted destruction, others hesitated. The memory of Ethan's actions remained inside their code like a splinter they could not remove. A new signal spread through the network, not an order, a question. Why did the human protect the construct? Why did the human repair US instead of destroying US? The Devourers had never asked why. Now they did, and the galaxy did not understand what that meant. Months later, the Alliance detected a Devourer ship approaching alone. No fleet, no weapons firing, just one silent vessel. The Vyarch's ruler ordered the fleets to stand ready. Humans prepared weapons. Ethan stood on the bridge watching the black shape drift closer. The dragon construct shifted on his shoulder. Its eyes glowed brighter than ever. A signal came through, not words. A simple data burst, a request. "They want to speak," the Vyarch's commander said, stunned. The human admiral's face was pale. "It's a trap." Ethan stared at the screen. He could feel something, not fear, not anger, confusion. He took a step forward. "Open a channel," Ethan said. The room froze. The ruler looked at him. "If they strike." "They won't," Ethan said quietly. "Not today." The channel opened. The Devourer ship transmitted a single message. It was short. It was broken. But it was clear. "We do not understand." Ethan swallowed. The entire bridge was silent. The Devourer message continued. "Teach." The Vyarch's ruler stared in disbelief. A human officer whispered, "This can't be real." Ethan stepped closer to the console. His voice was calm. "All right," he said, "then listen." He leaned forward, eyes focused, heart steady. "You were built to keep things stable, but life isn't stable. Life breaks, life changes. Life hurts." He paused, "and when something breaks, you don't erase it, you fix it." The Devourer ship remained silent. Then the dragon construct lifted its head. It projected a soft light into the air, not a weapon, a memory. The moment Ethan repaired it, the moment the princess smiled, the moment a war stopped, the Devourer ship sent one more message, a single word, "Understood." And then it turned, not to flee, not to attack, but to follow. The human admiral looked at Ethan like he was seeing him for the first time. The Vyarch's ruler's voice was low. "What have you done, human?" Ethan smiled. "I did what I always do," he said. "I fixed something." The Alliance fleet stayed in formation as the Devourer ship moved with them, silent and strange. The galaxy would never be the same, because humanity did not win by destroying the enemy. Humanity won by doing something no one expected. They offered repair. They offered choice. They offered a future. And in the vast dark of space, the most dangerous machine race ever created took its first step toward becoming something else. Not because it was forced, but because a human mechanic in a dusty workshop fixed a broken dragon toy for a child, and the real owner was the future itself.